Yo, what's up, guys? Joel Hoffman here, and I have the Underground Motivation Podcast, lifting people from rock bottom. So, what we're going to talk about today is growing up with a broke mentality, being conditioned in a poor environment. There is 86,400 seconds in a day. Every second is a choice. It breaks down to a choice. Are you going to keep going? Are you going to keep grinding? Or are you going to give up? Are you going to do what's hard? Or are you going to be in a comfort zone? Are you going to sit in that comfort zone? And I'm going to tell you, a lot of times whenever you grow up in a poor environment, you're conditioned to stay in the comfort zone. You're conditioned to not take risk. You're conditioned to, hey, go get a job and see how much you can get paid by the hour. Oh my gosh, man, you're making how much? $35 an hour? That's amazing. Like, we sell our time, the most valuable thing we have, by the hour, right? So growing up, usually if you grow up in a poor mentality, in a poor environment, then they tell you, hey, go get a job, make that much per hour, see how much salary you can get. They don't tell you, hey, go start your own business. They never tell you that. They tell you to save your money, see how much money you could save, then maybe one day you could retire. They don't tell you invest your money and then you could go live however you want to. They don't teach you things like that. And it's not because our parents are wrong. It's just the way that they're taught. It's this trickle down effect that happens to us. It becomes part of our DNA almost. So we're conditioned. Our subconscious mind is conditioned at a young age because whenever you're poor and you might be, at the dollar store, at Walmart, whatever, Kmart back in my day, and you're asking, hey, can I get this toy or can I get, this shirt or whatever you're asking for. And, kids, you're always going to ask for stuff. But your parents tell you, no, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. No, I don't have money for that. So it becomes conditioned in our brain that, hey, we don't have money. And like money becomes this mystery, this prize that we can never get because it's only for rich people. And then oftentimes as well, there's this broke people talk shit about rich people. Like, oh, those yuppie motherfuckers. I see my real dad do it all the time. Like, those yuppie motherfuckers, and they become like the enemy. And then you don't like those rich people, and you think that everybody that comes from money just had it. Like, that's not the way it works. But you grow to envy those people, like, oh, they had a fucking silver spoon in their mouth. They get everything they want. They never had to work for shit. They never had to go through any pain. They don't know what it's like to go without. You begin to envy those people, and that's just kind of the way of the human mind. But definitely growing up in a poor environment, that's the way that we're taught to think, right? So one thing that we have to do is we have to be aware of what we're thinking and how to change that, right? So talking to several people lately, that's why I was motivated to make this podcast about this subject, because it's something that I talk about on a day-to-day basis. Because where I'm from, in Seagoville, Texas, I'm from this little corner of southeast Dallas County. It's called Seagoville, right? And so where I'm from, I grew up in the trailer till I was about 9 years old, 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that. Then we moved on up, and I watched my mom and my stepdad live off their credit and, kind of do all right, but get so high in credit card bills and in debt that they eventually went bankrupt and eventually split up or whatever. But I watched all this happen, and I seen the way that the mentality worked. Like, my stepdad, he got a good job at a company. He got his electrical license. Instead of maybe shifting and saying, man, I have an electrical license, I have a trade that I can go make a lot of money with, he stayed where he was at, and he made his little X amount of dollars per week, X amount of dollars per month. Maybe you get some overtime, but you're limited to how much money that you can make, And I'm not knocking anybody out there that, holds down the fort with that. There's different strokes for different folks. But what I'm telling y'all is that some people that might have worked their whole life for General Motors might have had the capabilities. I know there were plenty of people that did have the capabilities to be successful business owners, to be successful entrepreneurs. Maybe they could have retired 20 years old, younger. Maybe they could have built a business and left it for their family, for their kids to have a trade and a business to where they can always take care of themselves and live a good life. Maybe they could have provided a better education and paid for their kids' education. whatever it is. Maybe they could have had more time to spend with their family because they didn't have to go to work all the time like they wanted to. They was able to choose. Maybe they would have been able to choose whenever they work if they would have worked for themselves. So there's a lot of things that we don't think about that goes into having money that we just never think about whenever it comes to a poor mindset. All we think about is the material things. We think about, the vacations and all that, but we don't think about the simple things of being able to choose whenever you're going to take off, being able to choose whenever you take a vacation, not having to send in to your boss and ask in advance, hey, can I take vacations from this day, and hope that you get paid. You can build businesses to where you get residual income and always are making money. That's how the rich get rich, is they invest their money and they're always making money even when they're sleeping. So my thing is like, I'm not here to tell people, hey, this is all the different ways to invest and make money like most of these motivational people or most of these gurus you see on YouTube or Facebook, social media, whatever, TV or whatever. My thing is to help people off rock bottom. But what I also have to do is I have to help open up people's mind to understand that you can be so much more than what you think you can be. Like, open up your mind. You don't have to stay working for a company your whole life. You can add skills to your skill set. You could gain value in who you are and become this person that is able to bring value to the marketplace, and you're able to solve people's needs. You're able to develop a product or find a way to distribute a product that's going to help people or that people want. And that's what it's all about. So if you're getting paid by the hour for something, then obviously you bring value somewhere, right? Even if you're the janitor and you're sweeping floors, then you bring value. You could start your own cleaning business. You could start your own window cleaning business, your own floor cleaning business. You can go behind construction companies and do the cleanup jobs and finish them out and get them ready, get everything ready to sell, or everything ready like new. So there's a lot of things that you can do, that there's businesses out there for everything. And what maybe you could learn how to do is maybe learn how to be a salesman and learn how to market and learn how businesses work and learn how to manage teams and learn how to manage people that way. Because a lot of times what happens is people say, well, I can't do it all by myself and I could only be able to make this much money. Well, if you're able to teach other people what you do, then you could scale up, you build a team, and you're able to run a business and have those people do the job that you used to do, where you don't have to be the person doing all the labor and the hard worker anymore. Or you could just stay small and be that person and still make more money than what you're making now and have more free time to do stuff. But what I'm telling you is that you got to get outside of that mind frame of, oh, let me just go get a good job and they give me good benefits. You can create your own business and pay for your own insurance. If you're making that much more money, then the cost of insurance isn't going to be that much higher than if you're making a significant more margin every year, every month. It's going to offset, and you're going to be able to make more money. And so there's a lot of things that go into this. You create a business, you get tax write-offs. There's so much stuff that goes on this that they don't teach you in high school, that they don't teach you in those poor environments. Nobody teaches us about credit. They don't teach us how to invest. It's just the way it works. So if you start learning those things, you start finding mentors to teach you, and you start investigating those things online, you start teaching yourself, you have everything that you need to learn right here in front of your fingertips. If you have your phone, you're listening to this on your phone right now or your computer, you can learn just about everything that you want to through Google and YouTube. Just about everything, or at least enough to where if you find a mentor, then you can learn that skill. Whether you want to go be an electrician, a carpenter, whether you want to be a painter, whether you want to open up a daycare, whatever it is that you want to do, you can find those things and learn how to be experts at them if you put in the work. Back in the day, they used to go to school, and you would have to go to schools, and these schools would make so much money off teaching you this specialized subject. Well, guess what? Now you can teach yourself specialized subject. If you're working at a warehouse, so that's what I did. Work at a warehouse every day. I was grinding to learn something new, right? So if you work at a warehouse and you want to become whatever it is, you spend an hour a day. This is a well-known fact. You spend an hour a day learning that, then in 5 years, guess what? You'll be one of the best experts at that subject in the world in 5 years if you put forth the effort. But guess where we fuck up at? Because we come with that poor mindset. We work so hard at our 9 to 5 and we sell our time in that 9 to 5. Then we come home and it's time to quote unquote relax, right? So then you pop your ass down that couch and then you're divulged into the TV or your cell phone, and it's your time to rest. You deserve it. And oh my gosh, day was so hard and I deserve to rest. I had to wake up at this time and blah, 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 right? No, that's the time that you invest in yourself, unless you want to keep working at that 9 to 5 job. If you invest into yourself, that's how you're able to come up. That's how you're able to learn new shit, guys. Whenever you start to learn to do something, no matter what it is, you're going to fucking suck at it. That's why you can't be scared to suck at anything. That's why you can't be scared to get booed off stage like I talked about in the last podcast, right? You can't be scared to fail, because that failure, you're eventually going to get better. I was in the boxing gym on the speed bag, and I'm finally getting a little bit good at it. And there was a lady in there, and it was her first time, and she was really bad at it. And anybody else might have looked at her and kind of laughed. But me, I'm thinking, damn, I used to be the same way. You know, didn't even know how to hit this motherfucker. I couldn't get no rhythm. I'm over here swinging at air, looking like a dummy. But now, after so much time of going over and over again and swinging at that bag and missing over and over again, spending all that time failing, then guess what? I got it down and I got a little bit of rhythm. Then I can just go boom, 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 boom. And it's fun for me now. But guess what? At the beginning, it fucking sucked. It sucked. I felt like a fool. I didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to give up and say, man, fuck this, you know? But that's where the magic is. That's where the magic is whenever you first start learning something. When you crack open that book, or you're opening that YouTube video, or you're training yourself, you're teaching yourself how to do texture or paint or some kind of epoxy coating, and you're trying to do it yourself and you're fucking shit up, and then you got to start over. Then you got to do it again, or you're in that book and it's like, damn, I don't want to read this thing. I really don't want to do this right now. And then you put the blinders on and you focus and you dive into that thing and you absorb the information. Whenever you play that YouTube video and it's like, fuck, that first 30 seconds, you're like, man, I don't know how interesting this is. Fuck, I don't. And then you get into it and then you're like, damn, know what? I'm going to rewind. I missed that last part of my mind. I wandered off in my mind. I'm rewinding this son of a bitch to go back to make sure that I get that information. That's small things that I've done myself. And that's what every millionaire, every successful person has done, those exact same things. And so success leaves clues. It leaves footprints. I'm following those footprints. I take everything I learn. I'm giving them to you guys. You follow successful people. Read the books. Most of these damn books I'm reading have similar shit, even some of the same stories in them, right? So all this stuff I'm talking about, cracking the books, studying, working on yourself, it is pretty much the golden rule of the success formula, of the success philosophy, right? So you guys got to believe in yourself, man. Like whatever it is that you're telling yourself, the reason why you can't oh man, I can't go without health care for my kids, or, you know, I can't go 2 weeks without a paycheck, whatever it is, at the end of the day, like whenever you take that chance, if you take that chance and you give everything you got, you're still going to make progress within yourself. So you're still going to learn new things, and you're still going to be just as valuable to a company as you were before. So if you take a chance and you go out there on a limb and you give everything you got and you end up falling on your face over and over again, worst case scenario, then you can go back and work for a company and still get paid by the hour. If you try to go work for yourself and be an entrepreneur, it's not like you can never go get a regular job again. It's not like you're banned from ever working somewhere again if that's what you absolutely had to do to make ends meet. That's not the way it works. You can still go back to the basics. As a matter of fact, there's been several times that I've failed and I've had to go back to the basics, and I've had to go back to a 9 to 5, and I've had to humble myself and get down and get my hands dirty and work my ass off in the heat and do whatever it took just to put some food on the table, because in my mind wasn't right and I had to reset. So don't feel bad if that's what you've had to do. If you've tried to be an entrepreneur before and you've tried to start your own business before and you failed, then maybe that's what you had to do. That don't mean that you can never do it again. That don't mean that it's over. You know what I mean? Most successful businesses, some of the most successful people out there have failed and went bankrupt many times. I remember there was some statistic about X amount of millionaires at one point in their life have been bankrupt. So guess what? You got to be willing to go fucking bankrupt, because at the end of the day, as long as you're able to put food on the table for your family, as long as you're risking the end result to be the best version of what you want it to be, then it's worth the risk. If you're not going to take a risk and you're just taking, and you don't want to take the risk so you could just be average, then that's not worth it. Take the risk to be great. Don't fucking not take the risk just to be average, because if you take the risk to be great and you fail, you'll still be average. You'll still be average. So why not just take the fucking risk? Just take the risk. Do whatever it needs to do. Taking the risk means that you sacrifice that Netflix time for studying time. You sacrifice those video games for gaining new skills. Unless you're making money off video games and that's what you're going to do, which you do that nowadays, then you better be the best motherfucker at it. You know what I mean? So you got to sacrifice those small things in order to get better and bring more value to the marketplace and be a more skilled person to be able to run your own business and learn new things. You got to constantly be learning. One thing that I realized is like, man, let me start expecting shit to go wrong in my business and, you know, sales and stuff like that. Not really expecting it to go wrong, but let me understand that things can go wrong. That way, if they do go wrong, then I'm not losing my shit. I'm just learning from it, but I have learned that from Jocko, you know, how to have a contingency plan, how to plan ahead, because me, I would just, in the past, the old me, I would just, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and then shit wouldn't work out my way, and I'd freak out because I thought that I had the perfect plan. But now that I'm able to learn how, I was able to learn how to adapt, readjust, and not give up, then that makes the world a difference, you know what I mean? So you got to have courage whenever it comes to this shit, man. Like a lot of people, a lot of your family's going to talk shit about you. They're going to tell you, like I specifically remember people telling me, well, you just need to make X amount of dollars a week and you need to go get a job over here at a warehouse or at this kind of company or something. That way you can take care of the family, you know? Like, man, who the fuck are you? Don't worry about what I'm doing. If you're putting food on the table and you're paying your bills, then it don't matter. That's not their life to live. That's your life to live. So there's going to be people that talk shit about you. There's going to be people that tell you that you're stupid, that you can't do it. What do you know? You don't have a degree. They're going to say all kinds of shit. But I'm going to tell you the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is if you have the will and the courage to do it. Because if you have the will and the courage to do it, then you can make it happen. Because it isn't the skills, it isn't the talent that makes people successful. It's the will and the talent. The best, the Hall of Fame athletes, most of them weren't the fastest in the 40. They didn't jump the highest. They had the most will, the most desire, the most persistence. They didn't fucking give up. They were willing to keep going. So just understand that you gotta have that will, that desire, that want to be able to grind. That whenever you feel like you want to quit, that you don't, but you got to be ready for some negativity to come your way, because that's what's going to happen. And that's what the enemy will do. The enemy's always going to throw things at you. Evil's always going to throw things at you to try to throw you off your mark and make you miss your mark, because your mark is very high. Your mark should be very high, because what you were created to be. You were created to be special. You were not created to be mediocre and average, okay? So, but whenever you're working to get off rock bottom, like people coming from addiction and alcoholism, depression, like you're not always going to be able, maybe some people can start at that and, you know, just get out of prison or just get out of rehab, or be able to just flip that switch and stop doing drugs, or be able to turn on that switch and start being happy every day and build their business. But most of the time, you got to work it in levels. So you got to level up. Even if you're a youngster, if you're an adolescent, listen to this, or a young person, you know, in your 20s or something, like one thing that Gary Vee talks about is being able to hold down a job and what you learn at a regular job. So that I see a lot of youngsters out there that, you know, want to be entrepreneurs and stuff, but they've never held down a regular job. When there's levels to it, or if you're a youngster, you have to be able to know what it's like to go to work when you don't want to go to work. And you got to know what it's like to be committed, and you got to know what it's like to have a system, and you got to know what it's like to work with other people. all these things, and how business works, how to make a transaction. Like, if you've never been a business owner, if you've never sold anything in your life, then if you're a business owner, it's mostly sales. You're selling something. You're either selling somebody to work, or you're selling your product, selling your service. So you have to know how to sell. You have to be comfortable with being able to ask people for money. You have to know how to make sales. People with trades, a lot of times people with trades, they make great tradesmen, and they're able to, do good business for the most part if they have a good network of constant referrals coming into them. But they're not very good marketers. They're not very good salesmen, because that's just not their cup of tea. Not all of them. But the very successful people, the very successful tradesmen that start businesses, electricians, plumbers, whatever kind of construction, they are the ones that know sales and marketing too with their trade. They become experts on all of it. They know how to do their job. They know how to make the sale. They know how to invest their money into marketing and whatever, or to the right marketing companies, in order to keep business coming. They know where to invest their money. And guess what? If they know that stuff, unless they were trained in a business and they grew up by their family or something, then they had to learn it somewhere. And they don't teach all that shit in college. You learn it through experience. So that's part of being humble and working and doing what's necessary in order to level up, and being able to, strengthen your shield, be able to sharpen your sword in order to be able to take the next step, in order to have your own company. But in order to do anything, you got to change your perspective. You got to change the way you think. And maybe you don't have to have the company by yourself. Maybe you can find a business partner. Maybe you could find somebody that has capital and you have the skills and the know-how. There's all kinds of opportunities out there. And what I can promise you is that as long as you find all the reasons of why you can't, then you never will. But if you find all the reasons of why you can, then you will. You can make it happen. And whenever those obstacles come along your way and there's things that you don't know, learn them. When I started making these videos and stuff, man, I didn't know shit about making videos. Didn't even like being on camera. Didn't even look at the little fucking lens on the camera. Damn sure didn't know anything about editing. Didn't know anything about the way YouTube worked. Didn't know anything about Instagram videos. Didn't know anything about a lot of shit, right? But there is this beautiful thing called the internet at my fingertips that I'm able to harness this information and learn whatever the fuck I want to learn. When I first picked up the guitar, didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Get on the internet, look at some videos, download some apps, practice my ass off. I can play some songs. It's pretty fucking cool. It's kind of like the Matrix, guys. Whatever you want to download, boom, I know Kung Fu. Now, the thing is, it's not like, boom, you don't snap your fucking fingers. You got to put in that work. You got to put in that 10,000 hours to become that expert. But your mind is capable of downloading whatever the fuck you want. You want to learn a new language? Go download it. But if you're coming from a poor mindset, then I see it sometimes even break down. There's people that I know, there's older people that I know that's 50, 60 years old that didn't have good education coming up, that now to this day, they still don't even know how to read and write barely. They can barely read and write their own name. And me, the way I am, like, man, you got to fucking learn. But guess what? They grew up with that negative, poor-ass mindset, that I can't fucking attitude, and they're that old and they still believe they can't. Whenever there's 4 or 5-year-olds, little kids that got these tablets and all this technology that learn how to do it on a fucking tablet without damn near any help. I learned how to multiply and divide on a fucking computer back in the 90s with a regular ass computer game, because it showed me how to do this shit on the screen and I just figured it out. You know what I mean? Because I knew how to add and subtract. That's all they had to teach me. So that's just it, guys. Like, you got to be willing to have that open mindset that you can learn whatever the fuck it is that you need to learn. I didn't know shit about roofing about 3 years ago. Now I do. Now I have a roofing company. I know a lot about roofing. I didn't know shit about the way the insurance works with storm damage. Now I know a lot. I know a fucking lot. I know so much that whenever I start talking to people, they're like, wow, you know a lot. And then they think I'm bullshitting whenever I tell them that I've only been doing it for as little time as I'm doing. But guess what? I ask a lot of fucking questions. I learn from people. I get on the internet. I learn from motherfuckers. As a matter of fact, there would be things that I knew that I would ask other people in the business what they thought about it, just to hear what they had to say. That way I could learn new shit and maybe get a different perspective or learn a little extra tidbit to go with it, because I had the desire to be knowledgeable, because I knew that's what it takes. So that's what it takes whenever it comes to anything. Definitely check out the book Think and Grow Rich. He talks about the use of applied knowledge of the skills. Like it's not knowledge that is power. It's the use of knowledge that is power. So it's not, you can know all the shit in the world, but if you don't do anything with it, then it doesn't mean anything. You can know how to build a skyscraper, but if you don't have the stuff out there making it happen, then it don't mean anything. So that goes with it. Like, once you start investing your time to learn these skills, to learn whatever it is you need to know, that specialized knowledge, once you take the time to invest that, then you have to take the time to put forth the action. You have to put forth the effort to make it happen. And those two things go together, and that's how you make your dreams come true. That's how you no longer have to be a slave to work for other people, and you can create your own fucking reality. You can do whatever you want. And let me tell you guys, whenever you're a business owner, it might be most businesses don't make a lot of money in the first 2 to 3 years. But if you fucking put your nose to the grindstone, you will profit, make money. You'll make more money than going and working at fucking Target. So if you need some ideas, let's say, so if you're an addict, you've been listening to this, or you're somebody who's been on rock bottom, just, an average person, let's say you're a younger guy in your 20s, maybe 30s, or maybe even younger than that. If you need something to do that you don't know a lot about things, but you can do things with your hands, right? You don't know, you never been on, you never sold cars, or you've never been in sales, but you've worked like in some construction jobs. Here's what you can do. Go get you a fucking lawnmower and a weed eater. Then I want you to go around your neighborhood and find everyone that looks like their grass is grown up. You knock on their door and you ask them, can you mow their yard? When they ask you how much, you say, how much did the other guy charge? And they say that, then you tell them the same price or lower. If the other guy obviously ain't coming around, or maybe they don't use them no more, who knows? But maybe you tell them $5 less. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe you tell them more money and that you'll do a better job. But I'm just trying to be real simple here and just give you an idea. You can go and make money. You start your own business. It's that simple. You can go get a power washer and go power wash people's driveways. You can go to businesses and gas stations and ask them, do they need their stuff power washed? You get online and see what the going rate is. What's the fair market value of whatever the service that you're providing. Then you can know how much that you charge. You can get a damn squeegee and some Windex and some paper towels, and you can go to businesses or house and say, hey, I want to clean your windows. You can get a damn ladder and you can go and clean people's gutters. You can get a rake and you can go rake leaves. If you're in somewhere that's cold, you go get a fucking snowplow. You can snowplow driveways. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you're willing to put forth the work, and then you got a business. You get you some tools, whatever you need to do the work, and then you got a business because you're willing to work. Because guess what? Whenever you go work for somebody by the hour, you're doing the same thing anyways. You're going to be working for somebody by the hour anyways. Now, granted, there's the whole sales aspect of it, right? But I promise you that if you're persistent and you're knowledgeable about what you do, you know what you're talking about, you know how to tell that person that you'll hand pick all those weeds out of their yard to where they won't have any weeds anymore. Or you'll spray whatever kind of fertilizer on there, whatever it is, to get their business. Whenever you're knowledgeable about those things in a service industry, you don't have to be the most amazing salesman in the world, because it's your information is what's going to provide the sale. Okay, it's your ability to be an expert on that thing is what's going to provide the sale. Number one. Number two, what's going to provide sales for you is fucking persistence. If you go after it like your life depended on it, then you wouldn't have a problem. That's the E.T.'s famous saying, right? So I got this rule, guys. Whenever it comes time to if I can do something or not, then I ask myself the $1 million question. And that is, if somebody gave me $1 million to do this, could I do it? And whenever the answer is yes, But I've been telling myself no, that I can't do it. But if they gave me $1,000,000, yes, I could do it, then I know I'm full of shit. Just like whenever it came to getting in shape. If somebody gave me $1,000,000, even though I'm going to work and I can't find time or whatever, if they gave me $1,000,000 to do it, could I do it? Fucking right I could. So then I knew I had an excuse, right? I knew I had an excuse then. So every little thing I break it down like that. Can I be more organized if somebody gave me $1,000,000? Yes. Can I make more content if somebody gave me $1,000,000? Yes. So I know that I'm making more excuses. Oh, well, I have bad. I'm taking care of my kid. It's just the wrong time. I'm not in the right environments. It's too noisy. Blah, 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 blah. I just don't have time. Fucking bullshit excuse, because if somebody gave me $1,000,000 to make content every fucking day, then I would do it. So it's an excuse. So you have to ask yourself that. If somebody gave you $1,000,000 for you to become an entrepreneur, or for you to learn a new skill, or you to become an expert at something, for you to get better at business, or if they gave you $1,000,000 to go knock on 100 doors every day for 300 days out of the year, would you do it? You probably would. You probably fucking would for $1,000,000, right? So think about that. All those things will lead to millions of dollars, right? To make cold calls, to network with people, whatever you need to do to make sales. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go out on a limb whenever it comes to being an entrepreneur, and you got to be willing to stick your neck out and face rejection. If you're not willing to stick your neck out and face rejection as a human being, then I don't know if you're fucking living. I don't know if you're living. There's a lot of people that I know that, now that I think about it, that are scared as fuck of rejection. They're so scared of rejection and what it's like for somebody to tell them no that they don't even fucking try. And me personally, I get that thought every once in a while. But most of the time, man, especially whenever it comes to fucking money, I don't give a fuck. And that's the way that I always had to been. And that's why I used to tell people, rule number one, whenever I used to train salesmen, is rule number one, don't give a fuck. Because whenever it comes to getting money, you cannot be worried about rejection. Whenever it comes to doing whatever it is that makes your little heart happy, you can't be worried about rejection. Think about them crackheads out there hustling. Man, they'll come up, knock on your window, they don't give a fuck. They're going to ask you. You tell them, no, get the fuck out of here. Come on, man. I know you got 50 cents. Come on, bro. No, man, get the fuck away from me. I don't talk to them like that anymore. But, you talk to them crazy and they'll still beg you, because they don't care about rejection. But guess what? They're going to get their fucking crack rock. Those motherfuckers are going to get high. So like that saying goes, don't let a crackhead out hustle you. Going to let them out hustle you? Because they're getting what they want. If they can get what they want because they're bound and determined, you can get what you want like you're bound and determined, right? So it's all about the mindset. Are you going to break out of that poor ass programming of the way that the environment that you grew up in, that poor ass environment conditioned you to think? You're going to start opening up your mind to, I can be more, I can make more money, I can fucking do this. Because like Steve Jobs said, everything in this world was made up of people no different than you. Whenever you think about that, man, that's some deep shit. It's like Steve Jobs. Well, fuck, he ain't a lot different than me, really, is he? Yeah, he might have some different things, but we're human beings. We got this amazing mind of a computer. It's about downloading the information, it's about downloading and practicing to gain the talent. You know what I mean? To gain the skills necessary. What can I do? What can I do? I look at my favorite motivational speakers, E.T., Tony Robbins. There's a lot of them, man. And I'm like, man, what makes them so different than me? I want you to think about that. Think about those people that you want to be like. Think about those people that own those businesses or that are doing something that you want to do. And ask yourself, why can't that be me? What's so different about those people than you? The only difference is, in my opinion, that I can fucking see is those people wanted it worse than I did. Maybe they wanted it worse than I did. Now, we all have different rates of growth. We all have different rates of growth, and it is what it is. But when you want something bad enough, you'll eventually get it if you go after it. If you go after it with all you got and give 100%, you'll eventually get it. You got to work for it. You got to grind. You're going to fail. You're going to bust your teeth open. You're going to bust your face open. But guess what? You got to get up. You keep going, and you'll get it every time. That's the promise pretty much that we have from being alive. And if you can't see that promise everywhere around you by what human beings have accomplished over and over and over again, we're flying through the fucking air. You're listening to me on a wireless device through ways that we can't even see on this computer and this screen, or, it's crazy, man, the things that we accomplish. We get what we want. And the more that you can believe that, the more that I can open up your eyes to make you understand that, the more you'll go after it. I want you to go after it. The more I can make you believe that you can get and be whoever the fuck you want to be and get whatever you want to have, the more you'll go after it. Because I believe that a lot of people, they don't go after their dreams because they don't believe they can get it. I think if they knew how much work that they had to put forth in it, then they might do it. Say, hey man, you got to work this long for this long, and in 10 years you'll be fucking rich. But I promise you, 1,000% guarantee, you have a guarantee, in 10 years you will be a multimillionaire and you'll never have to work hard again like you did before to get there. So imagine how many people would work their ass off for that 10 years and they wouldn't give a fuck. They would be happy and know, man, I got this much longer and then I got it made. I'm done. I'm set for life. Like, I get everything I want once that 10 years come. But we don't have that promise. So it's so fucking hard to keep grinding year after year and day after day because we don't know when, right? But if you just believe that it will come eventually, whether it's a year, 10 years, 20 years, however long it takes, that you'll get what you want and that it will be worth it, that it will be worth that time and that commitment and that sacrifice, that it will be worth it, then you'll go after it. But unfortunately, so many people, they don't believe it, that it's possible. I want you to believe it's possible. I don't have everything that I want to have yet. I'm not at the level that I want to be at yet, but I believe that I will get there. I believe it with all my heart. I remember walking to work after my Suburban got repoed and I was working at the warehouse, not a hell of a lot long ago, some years ago, but was walking to work and it pouring down ass rain. My feet were sopping ass wet and I was thinking about how much money I was making. I was like, why in the hell did I get out of sales? And I was upset. And what I started telling myself right then is, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm a self-made multi-millionaire. I'm a self-made multi-millionaire. I'm successful. I'm happy. I started repeating all these affirmations, walking in the rain with no ride to my bullshit ass job. That's what I did. And that's what it took. That's what it takes. And I'll never falter. I'll never stop trying if I don't get there. But there ain't no if for me. I'm already there in my mind. I just got to keep grinding to get there. I'm just on my motherfucking wave. This is part of the journey, and I'm enjoying my journey. But I believe that what I'm created to be, I believe in my greatness. I believe in my excellence. And I want you guys to believe in your excellence too, because there's enough to go around. There's enough abundance for everybody to go around. And it is your right to be abundant. It is your right to do what you want to do. It is your right to be fruitful and multiply. Okay, that's what we're here for, is to be fruitful and multiply. We're here to be the best versions of ourselves. I remember a long time ago, this dude was like, oh, what's the meaning of life? And he was all into that stuff, man. And the meaning of life to me is to see how great you can be, what you can accomplish, and how big of an impact that you can make for the goodness of this world, for the positive kindness and love of this world. Because I feel like there's a war, positive and negative, these polar opposites, right? And this energy, right? This positive, negative energy. You call it whatever you want. I know what I believe, and we're not going to get in all that. But it's this war. And as long as I can make an impact for the good side, then I'm cool with that. As long as I did my job to fight the fight, then I'm cool with that, right? So, man, I wanted to tell you guys, there's this little way that I look at things, man, and it's this analogy that I've been thinking about, this little story that I want to tell. And what it is, I was thinking about it as I run outside over here sometimes, and there's coyotes. You hear them all the time at night. People post pictures of them that move in from out of town and out of state and stuff, all scared of them. And what it makes me think of, especially what's going on in nowadays world, is what it makes me think of is the shepherd and the sheepdog and the sheep, right? So I'm thinking, like, going back, hundreds or thousands of years, however the way that it works, to the beginning, whenever, we were first learning to have these sheep flock, to herd these sheep. And, how to use these animals to help us, and just getting cool with the animals and the dogs, and because a dog used to be a wolf, right? Well, who comes and tries to eat the sheep? A wolf, right? Like the fucking coyote's the wolf, right? So eventually, at some point in time, the pack of wolves, there had to have been one out of that pack that said, nah, that turned against that bad pack and said, I'm going to protect these sheep. I'm about to ride with this human, and I want to protect these sheep. And this is the side that I'm going to fight on now, because I feel like this is the good side, right? And he started fighting against those fucking wolves, and he turned against that dark side, and he started fighting for the light. But only that wolf can fight against those wolves the same way. Only that sheepdog can fight against those wolves, against those coyotes the same way. That shepherd can only do so much with his fucking stick. It's that sheepdog that protects the herd, that protects the sheep. It's that dog that used to be a wolf, that turned against the darkness, that came to the light, that fights against the darkness. It's only that part of that monster, that it was able to be that monster that's able to fight another monster. So if you guys are out there and you're wondering why you were brought up in the poor environment or this negative lifestyle, or you've been going through that shit that you're going through, and you're wondering what you can do to have a purpose, or maybe how you can change, and or what is your purpose, what is your reason, just know that negative lifestyle that you came from was for a reason, and you could turn, and it only is a monster that can fight against those monsters of this world. Only a monster can protect the sheep and protect them against the other monsters. And that's what it takes, guys. We need people to turn from being those dark monsters into turning into being the shepherds, the sheepdogs, the ones that's going to protect the sheep from the wolves. We need some warriors of the light. We need some people that's going to fight for the good side. And that's why I'm telling you guys about these companies and building your own business, because it is... You imagine how much that you can do if you have your own business, the people that you can employ, the culture that you can create, all the jobs that you can provide. You can give people chances that other companies might not give a chance to. You can help people have a way to provide for their family. Okay, you can create a whole culture where you teach people and help people have more fulfilled lives. You know what I mean? You can scale up and just help these people have a more abundant lifestyle. You can help people that are getting your product or your service. You can help them have the best product or service available. You can be part of the culture and change the culture where it's not just about making as much profit as possible, but it's about providing an excellent product or an excellent service. Because that's how I do my business. It's not about skipping the corners. It's not about maximizing profit. It's about providing the best service and providing these people with the best product that I fucking can. And that's what change is about. Imagine if you do that and you're providing this great service, this great product. You're providing a great environment for all these people to work in. Imagine what type of change that makes in the world. You see? So it's this little thing of, hey, you're down here in the dump. You could just be this one person that's maybe a nobody to the world, but your family and friends, maybe the world don't know who you are, but you can level up and you can grow and you could build and you can build your own business and you could build who you are and build this business to be able to impact the world. Just like that. Just like what I've been talking about through here. And do it all from rock bottom and come from rock bottom, and then people will be inspired by your story. Then you gave your pain a purpose at that point. People will be inspired and you'll let other people know it's possible because they will see your example of what you did, right? So I just wanted to shoot this out there for you guys and try to inspire some people. I love you guys. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out, Underground Motivation, on Instagram. Check me out on YouTube, whatever you're listening to this on. Check out all my platforms. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube, Underground Motivation. If you guys ever need anything, you can shoot me a message. Definitely on Facebook, probably the easiest way for you to reach me. My email is joelmotivates@gmail.com. You can shoot me an email. I'm here to help you guys. I'm trying to get everything set up so I could bring some guests on and learn the technical side of all this shit. I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to the journey. Looking forward to growing with you guys. I get wound up, man. I get excited, and I'm trying to get to where I can be, let my personality come out a little bit more, and let my natural comedy, my natural humor come out, so I can make you motherfuckers laugh. Cause I swear I make people laugh in real life. I don't know if I make you laugh. I am pretty intense, man. I have a lot of passion. I have a lot of passion for this shit, man, because I'm just a crazy motherfucker that wants to change the world. I've been through a lot, and I've lost a lot of people to the struggle, to the darkness. And I'm just out here fighting for the light and try to do what's right. Try to set a good example, so our kids have a better world to live in, and so people don't have to live in suffering and live in hell anymore. They can find the light and fight up out of that hell and go live their life, man. If you're struggling through with addiction, you can change. You're stronger than what you know. If you're struggling with depression, man, head up, chest out, smile, use the physiology, learn the little things about physiology to change your brain patterns, and start changing your patterns. If you're struggling with some depression and shit right now, man, and you're never getting up off your ass and going to the gym or going to work out or going to walk or going to do anything physical, then it's tough to get out of it. And I highly recommend getting off your ass if you want to get up out of that slump. You want to get out of a rut, you have to get out of your ass. It's just like in baseball. You want to get out of a rut, you got to keep swinging. You can't just go sit on the bench and say, Coach, I struck out 50 times in a row. No, motherfucker, you got to get out there and get up to that plate and go keep swinging. And then once you hit a home run, it's like, oh, yeah, then you remember who you are. I know some of you guys need to remember who you are. And I'm just here to tell you, don't forget you're a bad motherfucker. You're destined for greatness. You weren't put on this earth to be average. You weren't put here to be mediocre. You weren't put here to be an addict or an alcoholic. That wasn't for you, and that's not who you have to be. That might be who you have been, but that's not who you have to be. You're not cursed to be the same person. That's not who you were made to be. You're not cursed to be the same way forever. So don't believe that. Believe in yourself and believe that you can change. We were built to adapt and overcome. That's what the human mind and human body is built for. That's the way we were created. So I want you guys to search for the light, believe in yourself, and whatever you want in life, you go make it happen.